Hello and welcome back to another episode of On the Ground. I'm Benjamin King and today I'm joined with Divles Amadei. We're actually here at the Canton Fair, so this is a bit of a Canton Fair special. Whilst the fair is on, lots of buyers from around the world are here today. But today I'm actually going to talk to Divles about setting up a sourcing office, the functions that you need in an office and when to do it. And all the the pros and cons, the challenges, the pitfalls, the benefits. Divles, I mean, thank you very much for joining me today. Why don't we start? Do you want to give a bit of an introduction to yourself, your experience in China, and you're also sourcing?
Good. All right. So I'm working with this international purchasing for over 20 years. Let's say first time I have been in China was 2005, and I started not in Canton Fair but in Yiwu market. That is a wholesale area in China. And then after that, I come here to Canton Fair, and I have been visiting factories all over China since that time. So let's say I have a bit of experience going around all the production process, visiting factories, talking directly with suppliers, manufacturers, and trading companies, and etc. So there is a little bit about my experience here in China.
Brilliant. And I mean, what sort of products have you got experience in?
I'm buying houseware since that time. So I started in a houseware company, and I'm still in this kind of business. I'm talking about all the kitchenware stuff, tableware, home decor stuff, a little bit of home appliance and things like that.
Oh, brilliant. And so what led you to set up a team here? At what point did you feel like you needed to set up a team?
Well, because, first point, China changed too fast, okay? The production process are improving, new factories are going up, old factories are shutting down, and then things are changing so much. Factories are enlarging the production capacity, reducing the production capacity. Like big customers are moving from one factory to the other one, so sometimes I have available production capacity in one factory, and then this production capacity will not be empty anymore. It's going to be fully covered, and I have to find another one. Or if I have some empty production capacity, it shows me that I have an opportunity there to buy in a better condition than I can buy in another factory that have the production capacity fully covered. So we must be here. There is no other way. You cannot do this from the other side of the planet, okay? Because we are from Brazil, so I cannot do this properly from the other side of the planet. So I must someone here to keep watching this, and no one will call me and say, "Hey, Divles, I'm in a bad situation. I can reduce my price, so you can come to my factory." This is something that you must be here in the ground to feel. There is no other way that you can do better negotiation or get better opportunities, or to find some good possibilities to improve the way you are buying, unless you are here to see how things are moving and the new possibilities that are coming. So you must have your eyes here in the ground, going around the factories and everywhere. So this is the only way. I don't see any other way.
It's interesting that just to pick up on a point about how things just change so fast. And in China, there's always this kind of image or of suppliers not being very transparent, right, and not sharing information. But the thing is, there's so much happening so fast, and the supplier, they might not share everything, but it's almost like what would they, they'll be sharing things all the time, and so you have to be here to witness it. You can't really expect your suppliers to be telling you everything that's going on.
I don't think it's a point of not being transparent. It's something that no one wants to share the weak side of their business. Okay, it's normal, right?
Yeah.
Normally, when you are in the negotiation, you don't show your weakness, right? You show your strength, right? Because the weakness is the point that your buyer, if you try to use to reduce your price or to get some advantage over you in the negotiations, of course you don't say this. There is no other way. So that's why you must be here on the ground. Like I'm talking like a purchasing team, like a sourcing team, right? And that's the point. It's not about transparency, okay? It's about negotiation. It's quite normal, I believe, right?
Yeah. And on that side, because obviously buying and purchasing, so your the team and how you've structured your team is you've got a big buying team, right? Is that?
Yes, I wouldn't say big buying team. I say it's enough for the size of our business. Okay, like I have buyers, I have a buying manager, and I have some QC specialists, and I have the shipping team and some administrative stuff to keep everything running. Okay, so the buyers will be responsible basically to be in touch with all the factories, with all the suppliers. You also buy from trading companies. It's not only from factories. You have some advantage on buying from some trading companies sometimes and advantage on buying from factories. The point is that my buying team, they are responsible to find the best possible purchasing option for each stuff, and that's it. I really, it doesn't matter so much if it goes over to a trading company or from a factory directly, it depends, okay? And then this is their key point. They must keep searching all over China to find this possibility. My QC analyst, he will be responsible to be in touch with our QC team, that's outsourced. And then our shipping team will do the logistic job to make sure that the shipment will happen. And the administrative team will just support this operation to run that. But basically, it's that. And it's not something big. It's small for the size of operation we have, let's say, but it's enough. It's enough. And that's the minimum I believe we need to have here.
Yeah, and that sort of best purchasing opportunity for you is very unique to your company and your requirements, right?
Yeah.
So it could depend on the product. It could depend on your size, your purchasing power. It could depend on the nature of the manufacturing process and the need to have more sort of development, from a trading company so it's important, I think, to when you have your own team that they realize that and that they are they're looking for that purchasing opportunity with your best interests or the company's best interests, right?
Yes, of course. The point is related to what's the best for the company, right? What we really want and what we really need. And then find this opportunity here. Sometimes we have some discussion about opening modes, okay?
Yeah.
Or investment on toolings, on enlarging some production capacities, okay? So we reach that point with some factories. And then you have lots of discussion about who is going to pay the mode, about exclusivity in our country, and if they can sell to other countries that's not in our region, how to share the mode fee or how to share the investment to enlarge production capacity and things like that. So it's not just a matter of price, okay? It's related to price, quality, production capacity, delivery time, and payment conditions, and etc. So it's a little bit more complex, okay, than simply go into the price and have a price list, compare one by one. It goes a little bit further. I mean, of course, after you reach certain point, certain turnover, okay? So there is no other way to do it properly unless you are here, okay? That's my understanding.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's entirely dependent on when you're reaching that level of quantity and which is unique to every company. And you mentioned how some of your QC is outsourced. I mean, what do you think is the sort of the balance between having a function in-house and having something outsourced? What's the thought process there?
I guess that is the point, how we can make it work better and properly, okay, in a way that you can count on that service. For instance, QC. If I try to have my own QC inside, I'm buying from all over China, okay? From southern part of China up to northern part of China, and then we also buy from the opposite side here, like we buy from all over China. So what's the size of the internal QC team that I can have to cover all this area, and how much I'm going to expend for that? And second, will it be possible to cover all the deliveries I have on time and to inspect all the factories all over China? I don't think so, okay? So even if I would prefer to have this team under my control, completely under my control, I think it's not something possible to do, right? I'm not saying that it's not possible to do, but it will be very costly to do. I need to have a very huge team and to expend lots of money on traveling and things like that. So easier to have one company that you trust, that you are reliable, and they have a inspector spread all over China, and these guys live in that area, so they can make short trips, okay? Or sometimes they even live in that city, so you don't have to expend money on trips. And they go there, they inspect, they send you the QC reports, and of course, with the time being, they will create this knowledge about your products, about your requests you have, and things like that. So it's going to be easier. Basically speaking, it's a matter of cost and benefit that you calculate, okay? And it's not something that you can simply put in one Excel chart and then to get the result on the back. There is something that you really learn in the ground with the experience, okay?
Yeah.
And basically that's the point. But QC team for me is one example that I don't think that you can have internal unless you don't have your production spread all over China.
I think it's a concentration of supply base, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
you have a QC analyst in-house who kind of oversees that sort of operation.
Yeah, I have one guy in-house. Basically, what is his job? He receives all the inspections report. He have a look on it. If there is no point to be discussed, okay, we just send it back to Brazil to our product development team. They are there. They are responsible basically to approve the product of the quality of the product.
Yeah.
Okay. And if we have already some issue, he realized some issue, he will go back to the factory and anticipate the discussion. Okay, that's basically his job in the company. Okay, but he don't go to the factory. He cannot visit all the factories. There is no way. Just to give you an idea, we ship around 200 containers in a month. So,
200 containers a month.
Yeah.
How many sort of product SKUs and how many suppliers?
This time we have to visit in second phase of Canton Fair around 150.
150 suppliers.
Yeah.
150 of your suppliers are here at Canton Fair.
Yeah. Running suppliers will be here in Canton Fair, more or less 150 suppliers. Okay, so normally we deal in a year 220, 250, maybe 300 suppliers because sometimes we change from one to another one. So it's really spread. I'm talking about houseware, so we have nowadays around 7,000 different SKUs. It means because it can be from one small tumbler to big one and stemware and spatula and blah blah and cooking pans, and it's a very wide range. Even if there is no huge or high added value in it, but the possibilities are very big. Okay, so we have a wide range, and so that's why for my business it's not possible to have this kind of quality control in house. For some other business that you are not so spread or you are more concentrated, so I think so. Okay, that is a little bit about my operation. So it really depends. It really depends on each one.
And when was the first time you came to Canton Fair exactly?
2005.
2005.
2005 first time.
But it wasn't your
here.
first. You probably went to the one in Yiwu. The Yiwu.
From EU, I came to here directly in the same year. Okay,
same year.
So my first stop was in EU. I worked there for like 1 week, and then I go to some factories in the countryside near there, and then I come to here. Okay, it was my
and
first
in 2005,
experience.
was it here or was it in the previous?
Here.
Yeah, it was here.
Still here. There was a little bit in the previous one. It was not so much anymore, but it was here already, but not that big.
Yeah.
Not big that big.
How do you feel? Well, obviously there's been a huge change. I mean, this hall is a new hall. I think from 2 years ago that we're in now, Hall D. But what about the types of suppliers? Do you still see any suppliers that were the same suppliers from 20 years ago?
Yeah. There are still same suppliers from 20 years ago here. There are still some suppliers from 20 years ago. But okay, of course, change a lot. Okay, change a lot. But some suppliers, they are here for a long time. And there are, of course, lots of new suppliers also. They are changing, okay? Sometimes one supplier used it to come, they stopped coming. New suppliers that didn't come, they come. But more or less, they said a little bit the same, let's say, with different names, with different faces, but the business is going more or less in the same way, okay?
Yeah.
Of course, now we are more experienced now, so we can see this in a different way, but basically there is not huge change. What changed a lot, now it's easier to communicate. I say China now is much more closer, right? Before China was really far, now China is closer. China is just right there, okay? It's right, I'm saying. Because of the communication is much easier, and to live here in the streets is much easier, and everything is closer to our lifestyle.
It's closer. You don't feel so homesick here. You can get some home comforts. The logistics and the transport is much better as well, and everything's really modernized.
Yeah.
No. And how do you think, like in terms of from a sort of a sourcing or buying perspective, how does Canton Fair compare to other trade fairs? Do you go to other trade fairs for your products?
Yeah. I see it. So I have been in many fairs already. I have been in Ambiente Fair in Germany. I have been in some Zulcex fairs in Turkey more than one time. I have been in some fairs in India, in Delhi Fair in India, and Hong Kong Fair, and some other fairs all over the world. Well, what's the difference? The difference is that here I can find anything I'm looking for. Basically, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. And when I go to the other fairs, the possibilities are much smaller than they are here. Okay, for my business, I'm saying. The advantage in China is that if you think about some product, if you come here, you can do it. Okay. When you go for some exhibitions, for instance, in Europe, you're gonna ask the guy, "What do you have?" And they will tell you, "I have this, and this is what you can buy." You cannot go to the guy and say, "Okay, you have this item, but I want to change this for that, and that part for the other one, and I want to change this color." They say, "Calm down." Okay.
Yeah.
I have heard already from some suppliers, "Calm down, my friend. You are not in China."
Yeah,
I say,
yeah.
"Okay."
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me clearly this. I didn't realize. But yes, so the possibilities of production here, they're much better. And the speed they reply you and the quality they deliver you, there is no comparison. There
Yeah,
is no way to
I think
compare.
that's, I mean, obviously, like right now, we're at Canton Fair, but it's amidst this whole sort of debate about made in China and manufacturing in China, especially with the US. And it's, trying to find other locations is difficult. It's not just about price or anything like that. It's just the speed and
It's the production capacity and the way they find to overcome the problems they're facing. Okay, that's the point.
Yeah.
About China. Okay,
Yeah.
if you go to one guy and you say, "I need to buy this item and I have to pay this price," they will reach that price and they will change the item to reach that price. And that's the key point about China. This is how they grow. Okay, so they can change the raw material, they can change the specification, they can change the size, they can change the capacity, they can change the polishing, they can change the stitching way, they can change everything. They can reach your target price. Okay, they're much more flexible, and this is what most of the buyers, they cannot understand when they come to China. Okay, that the first point when you come to China, you must understand this, how things are made, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why you must go to the ground, you must be in the ground, you must go to the factory, visit, understand how things are made, and then you're going to be able to develop your product in a proper way with the factory, understand how they work, understand what they do, understand the production possibilities, and then from this knowledge you can develop your own product according to the idea you have. Okay, and this kind of flexibility I don't see so much all over the world. Okay, normally you see this in China, and they have this capacity of adjusting themselves, okay, to overcome a product or to reach the target.
I feel like every sort of customization, every project which is new for them is just building their capacity and their ability to do it again. So you have factories here who have been 20, 30 years, 40, 50 years, but 20, 30 years of just continuously doing new products and new ways of working and
improving
it's just
themselves.
like the knowledge base or the engineering knowledge base here is just vast. It's going to take so long.
Yeah.
And just about like the approaching trade fairs, how do you think having a team here on the ground has changed your approach to going to trade fairs and finding suppliers?
How having a team here in the ground in China?
Yeah,
right?
if you were coming here alone or with your team back at home, compared to having your own team here on the ground.
Well, it changed a lot. It changed a lot because, like, when you come to the fair, when you come to China, we know a lot about the background, how things are made, really, how things are made. Okay, like when I visit here some trading companies, I know many times that they are buying from some specific factory in one area. So I know more or less the price they're paying. I know more or less the quality they will deliver to me. And we have lots of information here. This is what I'm telling you. If you are here in the ground, you can see things that from the other side of the world you cannot see. Like when we visit some factories, we can see which items are being produced there and to which countries it's being produced, so the quality level that guy can reach and things like that. So we really have lots of information here that you cannot have from the other side of the world. Seeing a PDF presentation or a PowerPoint presentation, there is no comparison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's, in a way, it's like there's no sort of like genius magic or sort of mystery around pricing and how things are made. It's just about experience and being here on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, it takes time, it takes experience, it takes being here, it takes, you know, going around benchmarking prices and everything, and it's just a case of having a team and in your case, you know, yourself as well, just going through that process, and then and it comes with experience, I guess.
Comes with experience, and yes, you have to go around. Don't be sitting inside your office.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Okay.
You've got to get out there.
Things will not happen inside your office. They will happen outside. They will happen in the factory. So you must go to the factories. Okay. And when I'm talking to do sourcing, you really must do it on your own. On your team must do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't believe this on everything that you hear or in nice presentation or in things like that.
No,
Go to that area. Try to know the place and visit factories. You are going to learn a lot from that. You're going to learn that factory A is producing in factory B and that they're relative or cousins or they produce all together and then everything is going on there, okay? In many areas you go and you are there, you visit one factory and then you visit another one and then they meet each other because they're friends, and they're sometimes they're very connected here because, you know, in China they have these production hubs. Okay, so in one city, normally they are specialists on producing certain stuff. So they have some cooperation between them, those factories, okay? And the trading companies, normally relative to them, everything is really connected here many times. I'm talking about this industry that I'm involved with, okay? That's normally I'm talking about some small, medium-sized companies, these houseware stuff. So when you go to the ground, when you visit those guys, when you talk to them directly, you are going to learn a lot. And when you come here, you have a background to talk with them, like with property, let's say, right?
It's almost like you've done all of the groundwork. Like the total groundwork is already there, and really you're coming here to have these conversations with them on a sort of an actual buying perspective. But compared to if you're flying in from another country just to come to the fair, but then you're missing half the context.
I believe you're going to miss 70% of everything that's going on, because the show is the show, and when they come to the show, they will show you what they want to show. That's it, basically. Okay, no one will show the weak points. No one will show what they don't want to show. They will show you maybe 25%.
And no one will show whether or not they know those other. There'll be loads of people. Those suppliers, they all know each other. And
and many times the factories are here, sit outside of the booth.
Yeah.
And you are buying from the trading side.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
And you see the factory guy there, say, "Oh, I've been with you." You say, "Yeah, and that's it, okay? And how can you know this? Unless you go to the ground.
Yeah.
There is no other way.
And in terms of finding a new supplier, would you go to trade fairs to find new suppliers, or would you would you do that outside of the trade fair to sourcing new suppliers?
We do both. We do both, okay? We do both. Here also sometimes we can find new suppliers, but not most of them. But most of them normally we will find outside, okay? That's it. But here also we can find some new. There is also this chance.
And let's go back to like building a team and particularly like recruitment. So for a buyer, it's a big part of most people's strategy in China. What sort of skill set do you look for in a buyer, or what do you look for?
Skill set I look for. Well, but basically that's it, okay? Someone that can understand or have this curiosity to understand about the production process, okay? like really how things are made, because this is how you negotiate in China. If you understand how things are made, and then you can understand a little bit more about the price of the raw material, and then you can understand a little bit more about how the packaging process, and then you can understand a little bit more about the distance from there to the port, and then you yourself can be skilled to estimate the costs, okay? Right? For instance, I'll give you a simple example. For instance, you buy some items made by plastic. It's very quite simple, okay? You know the price for the raw material, that's polypropylene, for example, and you know the price per ton, and then you have an idea about the production process, and you can like estimate, and then you simply take it, check the weight, more or less how much that guy is charging you per weight, and you compare with the price of the raw material, and then you learn how to do this. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. But you must be curious enough to reach that point. So this is what I'm looking for, someone that try to understand really how things are made, how the supplier calculate his cost, how I can reach the best possible benefit for both sides, for him and for me. Maybe if I help him to buy the raw material better, maybe if I increase my quantity, maybe if I do something, might have some way. But this guy must have this interest, okay? And this person, this position must have this kind of interest and curiosity to reach that point and to reach that level.
Yeah. So, I mean, if someone was, had zero experience, say they're a very junior person, and so when you were, if you were looking for someone junior to join your team, that sort of curiosity in product
Curiosity,
would be
yes.
really important.
Curiosity,
Yeah.
yes, and this kind of engineering thinking way, let's say, okay,
Yeah.
he must think a little bit like going to the production process and trying to understand it. This is more or less
And
the basic skill or interest. I would say that it's important to have junior buyer, and he will develop, he will grow up. If he likes this, he will grow up.
yeah.
But must like.
Yeah. So, how do you think, that a buyer would progress? The difference between the experience between a buyer manager or a junior buyer and an assistant. What are you looking for in their sort of skill set as they grow?
Basically, for junior, as I say, it should be curiosity, okay? This person must be willing to learn as much as possible, okay, about everything, and mainly about this related to production process and how to improve the production way to get the best possible relation cost and benefit, okay? About a buyer, he must learn very well about his category, okay, about how things are made and where he can get the best possibilities from which region in China, because as we say, normally these productions, they have some specific places where they are produced, right? As we know, in China, normally they have these production clusters in some specific area in China. So sometimes he knows that he must look in this city and in this city, in northern and southern part of China, and they have some difference between here and there, but he must know this, okay? And a buying manager, well, first of all, he must have a good capability of leading the team. And of course, being able to understand about the production capacities on every category. Let's say if I have 5 categories and 5 different buyers, he must understand a little bit well about each one. He no need to be really the expert on it. The buyer must be expert on it. But he must be able to make the correct answers, to get the correct answers. The correct questions to get the correct answers, okay? Otherwise, he will not be able to talk there in a proper way with that buyer, and he must be able to lead the team to reach the result, okay? That's the point of the manager, right? Or the leader. He must understand that being a leader is reaching a result using skill from others, not his own skill. Otherwise, he will be the specialist and not the leader.
Yeah.
So that's basically the difference, okay, between them, I would say. Still learning, but curious, know very well about his category, and one guy who is able to manage all of them and keep them connecting in the same way, reaching the target that the company is looking for. Basically, that I believe that's the difference.
Yeah, and in a way, obviously experience is important, but both from the junior buyer and also the buying manager is a lot of personality traits. So, for example, that curiosity is really important for a junior buyer, but then also that sort of leadership and being able to oversee and also delegate and not get too sort of like bogged down in the detail and allow the buyers to do their work and trying to oversee the whole sort of buying operation.
Yes, of course. That's the difference. Okay, as I say, the junior buyer will still be learning. Okay, he's not able to do everything on his own. He will be in that point of his career. He will like give more work than bring results. Okay, you're gonna spend more time teaching him and telling him what to do and how to do and why to do. Okay, for the buyer, just need to him what you need to do, and then he must bring you the result. Okay, and the manager is completely different. He must understand what have to be done, and then he must try to get this result from the team. So yeah, it changed a little bit, and and also you're right, there is different personalities. Okay, a leader, he must be able to communicate, and not only to communicate but to understand each other. Okay, there is no perfect, okay. One guy, I can say one buyer, and if he really focused on price negotiation, he's this kind of guy that's going after price, and he will have a very sharp memory for price, for production process, for every information. Normally, he will not be a very organized person, right? Because he counts so much on his memory, so he don't organize himself properly. He don't need to. He got used not to do it. So it changed a little bit. So this manager, he must understand that, okay, this guy is very good on this point and he's weak on the other one. So how can I work with him in the best possible way? So I'm going to support him here in this point that he's weak because he's very strong on it. And the other one can be the opposite. This person is very organized, but he's not going so deep on price negotiation. So let me try to help him to emphasize this, because it's important for me to have organization in this category. Let's say something that have too many different colors or SKUs or something like that. So you really need to mix these different personalities in one team, okay? And there is no way. It's normal. You cannot get everything exactly the same, right? Every person is different.
That's really interesting. I mean, just you've got to match people's skill set, but also their personality, their strengths, and their weaknesses to the type of position. And even within a buying team, you see that. And I feel like also from us, as we're a supply chain focused employer of record, we that understanding of the role, the needs of the job against the experiences and particularly the personality of the person is so important when you're hiring a team on the ground.
Yes, not only for the team, not the whole team must have the same personality. Okay, it really depends on the role that you give to that person. I say in my case, for the category that you give to that person. For some categories, let's say more related to colors or to trend, sometimes you need someone with a little bit more of this sense, okay? Let's say about tablecloths, for instance, okay? Placemats and things like that. Sometimes a little change in the textile color or in the texture of the textile and things like that will make a big change, okay? And if you have one guy who is really focused in price and in quantity and in things like that, you will not be able to see this. So sometimes you need someone with a little bit, let's say, with a little bit more sensitive point of view for this kind of details that can see color better, and the other one you don't need it. Even for me, for instance, I cannot see all the shades of color. For instance, blue is blue. This is I know that I have this deficit, so I say, okay, I need to hire someone who have this strong skill to help me with colors. I don't know how to deal with this, so I hire someone, okay, that was a kind of fashion designer, and she helped me on it during some time of my life because I couldn't. Okay, so I must understand, I'm very strong to deal with price, to go after factories and things like that. I don't have this skill, so I need someone with this skill. But if you want this person to become a very aggressive buyer on pricing, she will not be. She will not be. So that's how you balance your team. Okay. What do you need to do? How you must balance your team to reach your result? And it depends on the category, it depends on what you're buying, and it depends on
the needs of the company as well. I mean, and that really impacts who you're going to hire. You know, are you looking for someone to support you on a product and the variety and developing something with the supplier, or do you need someone who is, you know, who's sharp on price and very price oriented, and like you say, in your scenario, you need both in a way. And so it's really important when you're recruiting someone that you get those nuances right, because they can actually all be in the buying team, but they have a different focus.
Yeah.
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 And then also just moving on to the shipping side of it. So you have a shipping team, right?
Yeah.
And so can you how is your shipping team set up?
My shipping team nowadays, they are more focused on making sure that the product will be shipped on time, okay?
Yeah.
Because we buy many products based on FOB basis, so it means that the supplier himself will take care of all the logistic to export the merchandise. But anyway, we must be in touch with them, making sure that they're gonna ship the merchandise on time. We are connecting with the shipping lines and things like that, okay? Making the bookings and making this connection between our shipping agents and the suppliers.
Yeah.
Basically, that's the role. And we also have some ex-work suppliers, okay? Some suppliers that they don't export by themselves. So we also must do this. We also must make these internal logistics to ship, but it is not a big part of our business. In fact, most part of our business we buy on FOB basis. That's why this team is not the biggest part of our company. They are a small part.
And does the shipping team oversee the production schedule, or is that more from the buying team to make sure that they're produced on time, or do the shipping? Because that's obviously part of the shipping schedule, isn't it?
Normally, how it works, we have here the buyers, and they're really focused on getting the best possible purchasing possibility. And then we have a follow-up team. They're going to be in Brazil, okay, to make sure that everything will be shipped on time. Why? Because all the production information must be sent from Brazil, like the packaging, the artwork, and things like that. So I cannot do it here in China. So after we send all the information from Brazil, then we're going to be able to push the supplier, okay? So this follow-up is made by Brazil, and then after that, the shipping team, we will start doing. Maybe I could have all of them here, but anyway, we would keep depending on Brazilian team to send us all the information for artwork and things like that. So we decided to keep it there in Brazil.
Yeah,
okay?
And I guess your team in Brazil are doing the demand planning, the forecasting, which then obviously impacts production planning and PO, purchase order planning. Are the POs issued from Brazil or from here?
From here.
From here.
We issue the POs here. Normally we receive the order intention from Brazil, the request from Brazil. We need to buy this item in this quantity.
Yeah.
And then our office here in China will decide where to buy and how to buy, okay? Yeah. And if you can reach exactly what Brazil is asking for. So then after we negotiate with all the suppliers, we come back to Brazil and say, yes, we can, yes or no, we reach, we found, even better, or not so better. And then after that, we get the confirmation and then we issue the PO and everything, the process is started.
And how does your team here collaborate with the teams back in Brazil?
How my team?
Yeah, how does your team here collaborate with your colleagues back in Brazil?
So we are kind of extension.
Yeah.
Okay, we are kind of extension. We that was the plan since the beginning. Okay, the demand starts in Brazil and then it continues here. Basically, that's it. We are doing the same job. Okay, Brazil starts with one demand. We need to buy this item with this specification. We look for here and then we return to Brazil and we are working together. Okay, that's basically I can say that it's the same team. But we are located in different places. That's it, basically.
Yeah, and just going back to the recruitment side, I mean, what would you say is a red flag when when trying to recruit someone or working with someone?
Red flag. Someone who is not willing or don't have a kind of interest to overcome challenge, because they'll have challenge, and this is what we are doing all the time. Okay, like when I receive some kind of demand from Brazil, normally they'll have some challenge to go over that, or the target price will be very tight, or the delivery time will be a little bit tight, or the quantity will be maybe there will have some issue. There is no easy work at all, okay? You always have some challenge to face or to overcome, or maybe I'll have to change the supplier from here to there, and it's a challenging job. It's a challenging job. It's not so easy to do. So if someone is saying, it's very troublesome, I'm not willing to do it, so you are not in the correct place. Not because this person is not good, I would say, but this is not the job for her. She must look for something else.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
this is a job for those who likes to face troubles and who likes to overcome challenge and who likes to this kind of job, you know. But if you don't like, it's okay. I understand. Okay, and that's no problem. But doesn't fit in my team. That's the
And
point.
yeah, and with a team, I mean, what are there any sort of communication challenges that that you have faced, or you think foreign sort of managers, leaders face with a team?
That I'm facing with my team, the communication, well, easy. It's about language, okay? First, of course, I'm Brazilian and my native language is not English, as you can see easily. I don't speak perfect English.
Yeah, it's
right?
good though.
Okay, it's enough, let's say. But sometimes I have some issues. Oh, how I say this word? Because it's more tiring to speak English all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not as speaking my natural language, my native language. Okay, the consumption of energy is a little bit higher. There is no way. But so by the end of the day, sometimes my brain is like, oh my goodness, what I'm saying. And I'm mixing Portuguese and English, and I'm listening to some Mandarin, and I'm confused. And of course, my team also is the same. They speak normally, like we are in Guangzhou. So normally, the natural language, the native language, is going to be Cantonese, and they speak Mandarin. And with me, they have to speak English. So of course, I have this challenge of communication many times when I say something and they don't understand clearly, and I'm tired or they are tired and we cannot understand each other. Or it comes also from our culture and from our language itself. Sometimes you can say to the guy, you go something and make a very big U-turn to say, if you could possibly do this, and that way the guy say, come on, what you need? You want me to do yes or no? And we just must say straight, yes, I want you to do. So
Yeah.
you try to give too many possibilities, because if you say, I want you to do, I know that the answer would be no. So you try to go around and you will not reach the point, okay? So
you really, so you sort of really want to encourage the team to be more direct.
Yeah.
Is that a sort of because I always find that really interesting with contextual and cultural sort of communication. I mean, in Brazil, are people more direct? Because
No.
here, are they not?
No, in Brazil, we are not so direct.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes we go a little bit around to say something. Okay, we are a Latin country.
Yeah.
We really have a big heart on business sometimes. I say, okay.
Yeah.
We have more emotion involved in our relationship, and so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay, the way we communicate and the way we grow up. It's.
But also, I think like in this profession that you're in, I mean, in the buying, it is a communication skill to have to be more direct, because in a way,
yes,
because you need to get your point across to the suppliers.
Yes. Generally speaking, about Brazil, normally we are not so direct, okay? But for buying, you must be direct, okay?
Yeah.
The point is that here in China, as you know, they are not so direct sometimes, mainly when they have to say
Yeah.
They don't say no in your face. You say, can you do it, yes or no? And the guy say, I will try my best. I say,
well, that means no, doesn't it?
what does it mean? It means no. After some time I learned, okay, it means no, okay? But it's something, as I say, it's cultural also. Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes in a way, if they had this culture of saying no all the time, China might not have been as developed as it is now. It's they will have a try.
They will have
it might not work.
They will have a try. But even if sometimes they know that they're not able to do, but they say, I'll try my best, because it's something cultural. I believe that if they say no directly in your face, it's something about making you feel not so comfortable, or blah blah blah, or something like that. It's something really related to not harm so much your feelings in front of others, and okay, but you must learn it and you must overcome it. Okay, but the point is that this kind of communication, mainly between Brazilian team and Chinese team, sometimes you have to interfere on it and try to understand each other, and to say, hey, Brazil, what they want to say is this. Hey, China, what Chinese office, what they want to say is this and that, and this is the point. Okay, to overcome this, and it's really tiring. And it's tiring. It's not easy at all. It really, some days I realize that I hear some replies in Mandarin, and I try to say in Portuguese, and then I reply in English, and no one is understanding anything now. So I say, okay, it's my time now to stop a little bit, because I'm done. Okay?
Yeah, and within your team, you've also got is it finance and HR and office management as well? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we also have
So
this.
it's a sizable sort of infrastructure. It's not just like a small team. It's quite a sizable
No,
team.
yes, we have like a, I would say medium-sized
Medium
infrastructure. Yeah,
size. Yeah.
17 workers. It's not that big. I don't
It's not.
think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's big. It's medium small.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
structure. Okay, for the size that we are for the size of our business, I think it's not a big structure. I saw already many trading companies in China, and they have over 200 workers or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's really there are big teams here.
Yeah, and
But
it
it's
always
really costly.
depends. Yeah, it depends on how many functions they move from their home country into China, or maybe their market, or yeah, also the size of their business. But yeah,
And
it's
how
every company is
complicate you
different.
make your process? You must make your process a little bit more simple, okay?
Yeah,
Everything is already complicated, so make it simple if you can. Okay, everything you
Yeah.
can do simple, make it simple.
Yeah.
That's it, basically. That's what I can say. Because after you, everything is going to be complicated. The international logistics is complicated. The internal logistics is complicated. Selling in Brazil is complicated. So make your own life simple, okay?
make it simple.
And have
Yeah.
time to deal with the rest. That's it, basically.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what we say, right? I mean, as a supply chain employer of record, we just hire the functions that you need and get the experienced people, and then all of the sort of admin and complicated stuff around that, we try and help that for our clients so that they just get get the key people in, really. Yeah. And what sort of advice would you give to a foreign company who was setting up their operation in China?
Well, if they're setting up their operation, first of all, they must find some reliable partner to start. As I found you, and I thank you so much for your help here when I came to China on beginning. Really, I have to say that I'm succeeded now with this operation because I met you and I could connect many other people that helped me here. So first of all, is did find someone reliable that can help you to set up, because you will need, okay? And this is something that you learn when you are in China. That trusting someone is not a choice, okay? It's a necessity. You will need it. You need to trust someone to help you from beginning, because like when I'm here now, I cannot read any single word in Mandarin, but I have to sign lots of documents in Mandarin. I need to trust someone that's reading that to me and back me up and help me with this, even if I have some translators. Sometimes the translation is not so good. And you need someone like that you can trust, that you can rely to support you, okay? And that's the main point. Find someone that you trust, and then after that you can start growing your team and building your team, understanding each time better and better and better, and you can do it in your own way. But on the beginning you need support. There is no way. Don't try to do it on your own, okay? Don't come here think that you are a superhero, that you're gonna do everything on your own. You will not, right? And you need someone here in the ground that has experience, that can help you. That's my advice.
Brilliant. And is there anything that you'd say, tell people not to do? It's their first time sort of, developing an operation here.
Not to do, okay? What I would say, I don't know. Maybe don't go that fast, okay?
Yeah.
Learn a little bit. Take a little bit your time. Think one more time. Think twice. Discuss with one more, okay? Because, as I say, there are too many possibilities, and then you can find. Nowadays, I could say that I would do some things in a different way from beginning. I didn't make any big mistake, but I believe that I could have some different choices, okay? But anyway, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'm happy what we did, but okay, you always learn, okay? So take a little bit more time and don't go that fast. That's it. Then don't try to do it on your own. That's it, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, Divles, for joining us today in our Canton Fair special. Today in this episode, we've learned about Divles' experience, 20 years of purchasing and traveling to China, and also living in China, setting up a buying office and an infrastructure here. The key also about buying teams, who to hire, personalities, experience, and different positions. Also, we've learned a bit about the Canton Fair, and your experience here at the Canton Fair and other trade fairs around the world, but also in China. And then also some communication challenges that you've had, with suppliers and with teams, and what you've done to overcome this, and really what's important to have in a team on the ground here.
Yeah.
So thank you again for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. And we're going to be bringing more episodes with more professionals from HR, sourcing and supply chain, so you get all the tips that you need for building your team on the ground. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for inviting me, Ben. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.